So pranayama is texts in India. The whole yogic path is drawn out in those old texts, and we start to see pranayama in texts like the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. In there we find the certain techniques explained and their benefits and why you'd want to do them. And in more modern times, it's distilled into certain practices and certain techniques, and it's most often found in a yoga class. Here, we will just teach the pranayama techniques, the breathing techniques, and not the yoga stretches. So you want to do your own stretches for the body to get comfortable in your seat. Pranayama is made up of two words. Like so many words in Sanskrit, which is where the word pranayama comes from, Sanskrit, the two words become one. It happens all the time. And in this case, prana and yama or ayama. Prana is the life force energy, or chi or ki, energy, whatever you'd like to call it, though in these old texts and in the yogic path, prana is that life force energy moving through all things. And then yama, or maybe ayama. Yama is like restraints. You might know that word from the yamas and the niyamas from the 8-limbed path of yoga, if you've studied that at all. But yama is like to restrain or to restrict or to control. So many people consider the word pranayama to be control of energy or control of the breath. However, more likely, the word ayama was mixed with prana. It happens all the time. The two words together, some of the word is kind of silent or taken out to make them one. So if you consider it to be prana and ayama, anytime you put the a in front of a word in Sanskrit, generally speaking, it negates the word. So ayama, with the a in front of yama, makes restraint or control more like unleash, unravel, open up. And so in that way, it might be that pranayama means to open up or to unleash or just open the breath or open the energy. Prana can be energy, life force, or breath, which is where we get energy. So you can see these words have rich meaning. It's not just one thing. We can't just translate it as one word in English, but rather try to decipher it through many words. So let's look at pranayama as either control of the breath or the opening or unleashing of life force energy. Now, there's many benefits to pranayama, and there's also reasons why you might not want to practice pranayama. So, let's talk about both. Of course, pranayama, the way that we're going to do it is gentle and can reduce stress and anxiety. And in fact, the whole reason for doing pranayama in the yogic text is to find a meditative state afterwards. So we're doing all these breathing techniques and all the yoga stretches, or asanas for that matter, so that we could eventually be comfortable with the mind still and meditate. So one benefit for doing pranayama is, of course, reducing stress, anxiousness, and just generally getting more calm in preparation for meditation, or just generally to have less stress. Another reason is that it also helps us focus. It gives us enhanced mental clarity. Focus and cognition can improve by getting more oxygen into the bloodstream in the brain. This also can improve our mood, just generally getting all the stress out of our body and out of our mind can help us feel generally less negative with our emotions and feel more clear and positive and light. It also can improve our mindfulness if we're looking to just be more present in our everyday life. As we practice presence in our breathing practice, then this translates directly to our life. So it's good for mindfulness. Another great benefit is sleep. As we get the life force energy moving in the day, we can be more calm. And when we go to rest our head at night, then our sleep happens easier. We're kind of going in and out of these kind of meditative states naturally, and pranayama can easily lead to easier sleep and deeper sleep as well. Kind of training our mind and training our breathing, which has so much to do with our quality of sleep. There's another one that's a little more obvious. We can improve our lung capacity. And in fact, when the pranayama techniques get a little more edgy or more advanced, then you're certainly pushing the edges or limits to your lung capacity and how deeply and fully you breathe. And so many of us kind of lack the fullness of our breathing. Most of us can breathe so much more deep and full than we do in our everyday life. And by practicing these techniques, you can learn to use more of your lungs and breathe more deeply and fully, which has so many benefits. And one of my favorite, or what I've found to be so true for me in my life, is to boost the immune system. I found that I hardly ever get sick, ever, if, of course I have eat well and I sleep well and stuff. But when I do the breathing exercises, even if I got a little sickness, I can kind of move it through or blast it out. Or so no guarantees, but in general, definitely pranayama can improve your immune system so that you have a stronger fight against sickness and disease and things. And with that, circulation can improve as well. We're getting so much movement in those channels of the body. The nadis can flow freely. The nadis are the energy channels found inside the body, like the meridians in the Chinese system, called nadis in the yogic system. And more gross, your body, the circulatory system can improve, blood can flow better, and all of this as we breathe in and out and get a little movement in that in the circulatory system. Now, pranayama is not advised to ever do without a quality teacher that knows how to guide and hold space for the activities of pranayama and what can arise with the problems and with the benefits and everything. So it's important that if you do work with pranayama to find a teacher. But for this course, we're going to introduce it in a way that's gentle, slow, and just about anyone can discover if it's right for them. And so I hope it's right for you. And if you take it slowly, most of you will benefit greatly. We will separate the advanced practices with the more basic practices. And it's important that you're honest with yourself and with your body and finding that the practices are to your level as you grow, that you grow slowly and to not push things. It's of utmost important for me to know that you will be your own guide in that way. Though it's also good to note that there are reasons why you wouldn't want to practice these breathing exercises. We call them contraindications, just things that you want to be warned about or cautious about if you have, let's say, heart conditions or high blood pressure. And this can really push the edges of your blood pressure and the function of your heart. And so if you have if you've had heart surgery, heart conditions, you're going to want to be gentle with your little heart, as well as high blood pressure. That's easy to really raise the level of when we're doing vigorous breathing exercises. You know, you can raise it or lower it using your breathing. So that's the benefit of breathing practices, though you're going to want to be careful with the more vigorous practices to not raise your blood pressure if that's a thing for you. Another thing that might be more obvious is like if you're pregnant, if you're a woman and you're pregnant, you're going to want to be careful with the sensitivity of having another life inside of you, particularly in this belly region here, is where we're going to do a lot of this breathing. You'll see that the breath works through the abdomen a lot. And so you're just going to want to be really careful with that, and probably choose only the more relaxing and smooth breathing exercises rather than the vigorous ones during any part of the pregnancy. It's the same with women in menstruation. If you're on your cycle, it's probably good to be cautious about doing pranayama for a couple days, at least the vigorous exercises, and to not stir things up there, and allow your cycle to be as smooth as possible. So watching out for being on your menstruation cycles, and of course pregnancy. Another one that's something to caution for, maybe also quite clear, is that if you have any breathing problems, like respiratory issues, if there's any condition you have, you're just going to want to be cautious, because these pranayama techniques can both help or damage by the way where you're at with them and where your body is. So sleep apnea can really change sleep apnea and even cure it, possibly, but it could also really damage things. If you have any, so you just want to be cautious there. Go easy. If you have, sinus troubles, you could really clear and help that, or you could damage worse. So you're going to want to be your own teacher in this way and be honest with where your body's at. So careful of respiratory issues, and also any like surgeries, specifically in the abdomen, or if you just had surgery in most places in your body, you're just going to want to be careful to not, move things along too much. Let's see, hernia, ulcers can often all happen down the this breathing region where you're sitting, where your abdomen is, and of course that's a sensitivity and something that you want to be cautious about, as well as your eyes like detached retina or glaucoma, any kind of eye conditions, because as we breathe vigorously, a lot of strain or a little bit of pressure can happen behind your eyes. Hopefully not very much, though if you have sensitivities in your eyes, this could be something that you want to watch out for. Just a couple more, like neurological disorders, epilepsy, seizures. If you have seizure and epilepsy like past, then certainly messing with your breathing pattern can possibly induce those kinds of things. So please be cautious and gentle with yourself if that's something in your past. Generally, we can calm the nerves and help these kinds of things. So again, we could exasperate them at the same time if you're not careful. Other physical things like vertigo or any kind of physical discomfort. If you're getting physical discomfort during your practices, more than just like sitting or something's really bothering you, then that's something to kind of notice and back off of. So not to push anything that's too uncomfortable in your body. So I don't say these things to scare you. I say them just so you're gentle with yourself. One of the main things I want to convey here is just to be gentle with yourself through the whole process of practicing pranayama. Slow and steady is the key. This is about calming the mind, calming the heart, finding meditation, finding comfort. So if it's doing the opposite, it's probably being done maybe off or the wrong way, or maybe that practice just is too much for you at this time. Maybe you could revisit it later. So I leave this up to you. Welcome to Pranayama. Prana and Ayama, let's unleash the life force energy by controlling our breath. What a beautiful path we're on. Thank you for being here.